Welcome back to Hammer Horror in Order, where the whole premise of the series is right there in the title. We're watching the Hammer films, Hammer Studios releases of specifically their horror movies and their thrillers in the order in which they were released. So we've worked our way up to 1965. Matter of fact, this is the last horror or thriller that they released in 1965. So starting next month, we'll finally move on to 1966, and we'll let you know what that's going to be. At then, just know it's a pretty big one, and we're heading into the month of October. If that's any clues for you, so stick around to the end of the video to see what that's going to be. But we're talking about The Nanny, which was released here in the United States October 27th of 1965, and in the UK about 10 days later on November 7th of 1965. And it stars Bette Davis, Wendy Craig, and Jill Bennett. But yeah, I mean, you've got one of the biggest Hollywood icons of all time, really, in Bette Davis, this movie. And I think she did at least one other Hammer movie a little bit later on, which I'm sure, we'll eventually get there. But I think she did do another Hammer film before it was all over with. But this was directed by Seth Holt, and it was produced and a screenplay. The screenplay was written by Jimmy Sangster. So obvious, another obvious Hammer legend there in Jimmy Sangster that worked on this one. But this is the first time that I had watched this one. How about for either one of you?
It's the first time I'd seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I will say this was pretty damn solid.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was.
Maybe even like of the thrillers that we've watched so far, this might be the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is disturbing. Now we don't do spoilers on this. So we got to be real careful on this one because you could easily give some stuff away.
Oh, yeah.
I encourage you to go watch this movie, so you don't get the whole, experience spoiled for you. But yeah, it's not necessarily their Hammer's usual bit that we've noticed a lot where they're doing the gaslighting. I mean, I guess there is a little bit of that going on.
Probably, but just as much as you need. Well, because then you get right down to it. Just about every thriller. That's that's kind of the nature of part of the
Yeah.
stuff, I guess, to some degree or other. Now, a lot of the other Hammer films we did were all about about some getting gaslit, right? But this one just has that bare minimum of stuff that you basically have in a thriller that that you're just going to have because they're trying to twist a certain way, right?
Yeah, this is more like Crazy Town.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough one to talk about because you want to get into the spoilers and it'll be so easy to spoil it for me. We don't want to do that.
Yeah,
There's a
because
couple,
even if we just talk about a certain detail of the movie,
yeah. Just know that
give
there's
away.
some really good plot twists along the way here, and Bette Davis, of course, in honestly a fairly subdued
Yeah,
Bette Davis, because she could sometimes be a little bit more over the top, more maniacal, especially say post like what Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte, that time period where like she's kind of started making more of these type of films.
yeah. This one here. Boop.
Yeah,
I just happened to have it sitting right here because I think I had it for something else we were doing, right?
yeah. I think it was when we did Die Die My Darling. You brought
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
but yeah. So like sometimes she could be a little over the top or a little like really crazy, but like there's some of that there, but I mean she's great in it. And this was well put together. I mean, it's based on a novel. I forget what the name of the novel was, whether it was
I think that was The Nanny too.
was it The Nanny? I was just looking real quick to see. Yeah, from the same name. It was adapted from a 1964 novel of the same name by Evelyn Piper, which was a pseudonym for Miriam Medell. That was the author of that book. So,
Hmm.
Filmed in the usual places there, Elstree Studios and all that stuff for Hammer. But yeah, just well done, well written. So, and and in some cases very disturbing. You know,
Yeah.
Yes.
get like kind of like gut punch type disturbing type
Yeah.
stuff. Like, oh man, no, 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 no. You know,
Yeah.
so yeah, just know that that's coming for you when you sit down and watch it. But it's some great stuff. Highly recommend it. What we do here on Hammer Horror and Horror is we come together and we give a consensus rating that this isn't just from one of us, it's all of us. And we came up with a score of 3.25 hammers. That's out of 5. So that makes it the highest rated thriller by a little bit.
Yeah.
I think we had two others that were rated 3 hammers. If I'm not mistaken, it was yeah, Taste of Fear and Cash on Demand.
Mhm.
Really like those. And
Yeah,
then
I didn't get to see Taste of Fear yet, so I'm gonna have to revisit that
Yeah.
one because I wasn't on that episode.
yeah, yeah, check that one out. Both of those are really good movies. Cash on Demand was a
Mhm.
great movie.
Yeah.
That
Oh
one
yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
stuck
Yeah.
up
Me
on us
too.
when we watched that one. So
Yeah. Yeah. Because I had no intention of thinking I was gonna like that movie. Just the title and everything. Like,
yeah,
what is this? But
that
yeah, that's a sleeper. That's a sleeper there.
yeah, no question. Yeah, I think this is kind of another one too. Like I don't know really what I expected from it, but it was better than I
Yeah.
expected. I'll say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Well, and also it's kind of like whenever Hammer, they did a good bit of thrillers, and of course you could kind of see from some of their thrillers that they were sort of cashing in or trying to cash in on Hitchcock style, right?
Yeah, for
But I
sure.
think their best thrillers are when they step away from the Hitchcock formula. I mean, not this isn't formulaic by any means, or even some of their other ones. Just you can just tell when they're trying to do Hitchcock. So when they're not trying to do Hitchcock, I think is when their thrillers really shine.
Yeah, yeah, it's good stuff. We recommend it. Go check it out. That's why we're not talking as quite as much about it as we usually do because we don't want to spoil it for you. And I think it'd be easily spoiled. So, yeah, go check it out. Honestly, has there ever been a remake or anything? Because I'm kind of surprised that.
I don't think
I don't
so.
think. So. I
Yeah,
mean,
I mean,
well,
I'm
yeah,
sure there's something out there that
yeah,
maybe,
maybe.
called
maybe,
the Nanny or
There
something
could be.
similar,
Maybe
but
there's something we haven't checked. Maybe there's something based on that novel that's called something else, or that's.
yeah.
maybe. I'm just, after watching, I was kind of thinking, not necessarily that you need to make a remake. I was just kind of more surprised if there's not some, like, because I
Right.
could see them taking this and,
Well, was it? What about the Hulk Hogan movie? Was that? No, it wasn't.
Mr. Nanny.
Oh yeah, that's
I
not
don't
right.
think
Right.
that,
Okay.
yeah, no. And I
Oh,
don't think the Fran Drescher CBS sitcom was based on this either. So
oh, okay.
there's that. I'm sure there's other nanny stuff that we're not thinking of. Mary Poppins, she ain't. I'll say
Yeah.
No.
wow, good stuff. So yeah, go check it out next month. Like I said at the beginning, October. So that means we're playing up Halloween. We kind of got a somewhat of a loose Halloween theme going. So we're really leaning into that. And this isn't Halloween, and we don't pick these movies. We're watching them in the order they came out. But it just so happens to be something that fits perfectly in with the what we're going for across all of our stuff here on YouTube and over on the All American Spook Show podcast, which comes out every Monday at 6 p.m. East, wherever you get your podcast, or right here on the channel. But the next month, the movie will be Dracula, Prince of Darkness from 1966. That's right, the return of Christopher Lee, or Christopher Lee's Dracula, right? So,
Mhm.
Back when they finally were able to convince him to carry on with the Dracula character, and
yeah,
thankfully
because
he did. For
it had been even here on the show, it's been a while,
Yeah.
like years up to this point that I think we've done
yeah,
The Brides of Dracula. He wasn't even in
he
that.
wasn't in that one. No, that was it
Yeah,
was
I think
a
I
sequel,
think you
but
got to go back to 1958's Horror of Dracula.
yeah, before last time he portrayed Dracula. So that's
Yeah,
been
that's
how many years between there? So
8 years because this will be 1966, so it'll be 8 years. And that was when did we watch it here on the show? That was all the way back in
all
number
right, right.
six, so that was 2023. So it's been a while. It's been
Yeah, we've had
over
Christopher
3 years.
Lee be on some other Hammer episodes. I mean Hammer movies, but
Yeah, I
but
don't
the
know.
first time he's been back in the Dracula role at least. Yeah.
Yeah, so perfect timing. It just happens to line up with October, so another great offering here in Hammer Horror and Order. And by the way, this will start a stretch of a lot of horror movies.
Yeah.
So the Nanny was a good thriller to end it on for a little while because it's going to be a while before we go back to another Hammer thriller. They
Yeah.
really
Once
started
once
getting
they
back into horror with this one.
And once they convinced him to come back on, it was pretty much, wide open after that, right? For the gothic horror ones.
Yep, yep. And we're about to hit a
uh,
long stretch of them, so we'll be hitting every month. We'll be telling you what's coming up next. Just know that we're gonna hit a good stretch here. So that is it. Stay here on the channel for all the other cool stuff that we mentioned, including Grindhouse Gutter, Video Vortex. Those are other series that we do. Of course, new episodes of the All American Spook Show podcast are uploaded right here on the channel. So stick around and watch all that stuff, subscribe and all that jazz. And check out the podcast. Comes out every Monday, wherever you get your podcast. So we will talk to you next month.